And why, when you're saying let's look forward to different awards nights, why do we have to do that?
So here's the thing. I've said this for many years. Here's the secret to winning your Oscar pool. It's two things. The first thing you have to do is bet with your head, not with your heart. And here's what I mean by that. If you hear yourself saying, "Oh, but I loved her performance. Oh, but that was my favorite movie. Oh, but he was so good in that," you're probably going to lose. That's not how the Oscars work. Your feelings have no place in betting on the Oscars. It would kind of be like betting on the Super Bowl based on which city you prefer over the other. It's kind of an irrelevant fact. So get your feelings out of the way when making Oscar predictions. The second thing gets to the question you asked, and that is, why do the other award ceremonies matter so much? And here's why. The Academy Awards are based on voting in each category, meaning actors vote for actors, directors vote for director, costume designers vote for costume designers, editors vote for editors, and so on. The one category that's open is Best Picture. So the way I can predict the Oscars every year, the way anyone can predict the Oscars every year, is if you look at these other Guild Awards. So if you look at the Screen Actors Guild Awards, if you look at the winners of the Directors Guild Award, the Writers Guild Award, etc., you're going to really get a clearer Oscar picture. You're going to be about 80 to 90% of the way there. There are always surprises. It doesn't always play out that they're the winners of each duplicate, but in general, they do. Sometimes people aren't nominated for one of those awards, and so that makes it a little tricky. Banshees of Inisherin, for instance, will probably not be nominated for a Writers Guild Award due to technicality, but it's one of the favorites to win Best Original Screenplay. So you got to look at those awards. As those awards come down the pike in the next couple of weeks, that'll start to fill in who's likely to win at the Oscars.
I do want to pick your brain about Best Director. Who do you think's winning in that category?
So this is kind of a two-way race as well. It's been set up all season long. I think Spielberg was the favorite for The Fabelmans, which is his autobiographical movie. I think right now the Daniels, the two men who directed Everything Everywhere All at Once, look to be the favorites based on all the nominations that film got. But listen, Hollywood historically is in love with Hollywood. Movies about movies historically do really well. Movies about entertainment in general do really well. So I wouldn't count Fabelmans out just yet, but it looks to be an Everything Everywhere All at Once win, and right now the Daniels are looking pretty good.
I do want to take a step back here. The Fabelmans had Oscar buzz before it even came out, but Everything Everywhere All at Once came out in March, which usually Oscar contenders don't come out that early, and it was more slow to pick up steam there. So what factors in when you're talking about a movie generating Oscar buzz?
So I think that's a great point. Oscar winning movies and Oscar nominated movies typically come out in the fall. Summer's fun, and then we go back to school and we get serious after Labor Day and all the big movies come out. And that's really where The Fabelmans landed. Everything Everywhere All at Once, as you mentioned, was a spring movie. It had a big word of mouth. It was just one of those slow burn movies that people said, you got to see it, you have to see it. Not everyone loved it, but it was such a different movie, such an interesting movie, such great performances that it just had this build throughout the spring, throughout the summer, into the Oscar season. And it got the nomination based on, really great performances, a really original movie, a really original script. And the word of mouth has just been terrific.
And I do want to continue to talk about Everything Everywhere All at Once. That got 11 nominations. Was there a lot of competition this year?
Oh, there are a lot of movies. Listen, there are a lot of movies that people feel were left out. There are a lot of performances that were left out. But when you only have 5 spots, it's really hard for everyone to get a nod. But listen, Everything Everywhere All at Once is one of those movies that, people had high hopes for, I'm sure. But I don't think when they released it that they had any expectation it would rack up 11 nominations.
I'm excited for that one. It was really fun, and fun for all ages, too. But let's talk about the Oscars this year, the ceremony. Do you think more people will be tuning in because of the drama last year surrounding Will Smith and the infamous slap?
I think it's still fresh in people's minds, and I think people want to know. Listen, it came up at the Golden Globe Awards. Eddie Murphy made a hilarious joke about it, perhaps inappropriate, but everyone laughed. So, yeah, do I think people are going to tune in to watch that? And listen, we talked about it. Best Actor is one of those categories. It's a three-way race. That's a big deal to see who's going to win the Best Actor award after last year and Will Smith. So, yeah, I think people are going to tune in. And I think it helps this year that the Oscars do have movies that people actually saw. For every movie that grossed 27,000 at the box office, there's $2 billion, Avatar at the box office as well.
I know it was exciting to see Top Gun Maverick because that's one I think everyone could check off their box. They did see.
It's a movie people saw multiple times, so that, Avatar as well. So there are these movies that are quite popular. And then there is always the independent movies. The independent movies typically do quite well at the box office. The independent movies typically do quite well at the Academy Awards because those are the performances.
Michael Solomon, thank you so much.
Thank you.